foundation of all the strokes, and having a good technique means that you can get maximum efficiency, good power. It means that you save energy when you are on a full run or on the rapids, and then you can push your boat and pull yourself through.
Well, that's the basic, to have a good forward stroke. That's how you go actually fast and get a good balance. So I think focusing on a good forward stroke is really crucial.
For me, it's important because it allows you to go faster with less energy.
When I'm thinking about my forward stroke, I want to be tall, leaning forward a little bit from the hips, relaxed shoulders and relaxed hands as well. Like, I'm not tense, I'm not hunched, I'm trying to really grip the paddle but have it move in my hand. So because I'm right hand dominant, this hand stays pretty firm, but my left will sort of, I guess, turn as I'm moving the blade, moving the shaft, to change the angle. And I'm really just thinking about rotation, good catch at the front, and yeah, having that good posture.
There's a way that we could coach the right technique, which is a good posture, relax, tall, have a good connection with the knee and the footrest.
I just feel better being, like about 90 degrees, 80 degrees. And for me, it still allows good rotation of the torso and good forward stroke.
Yeah, relaxed, turning the shoulders, making sure that when I do put the blade in, I'm not punching with my top hand, because when I do that, the stroke is a lot shorter at the front. So really keeping that top hand back and catching at the front and really making sure the blade is fully in the water. It's not a splash as such, it's just a really good in deep and pull with the body.
Ideally, I want my stroke to start smoothly. If I feel an impact, I know I've rushed the stroke too much, and then I'm just hitting the water. That's not ideal. So I want the catch to be smooth, and then I can pull hard. I would basically aim for my just behind my feet. Basically, I would aim around there, and that's just my my indicator.
Kids need to have the connection in between the hands to the feet. That means when they paddle, they need to make sure that when they put the blades on the water, they have an action and they're efficient. Put the paddle in, it needs to become perpendicular, it needs to be put perpendicular to the boat with a top hand that you could block in a way. And when the paddle catch the water, the transition is pulling, rotating, and try to think, what is the effect that I will have on the boat? What does the boat do when I just do this? And then they could develop their own technique, I would say. That's the main thing that they need to learn, and they need to develop that themselves. It's a lot of feeling. You need to feel that the water is hard on when you put the blades in, and you have this moment where you have a kind of connection and a rotation using the front of the boat, where probably the knee, in between the knee and the footrest, and then not passing the hips in a way. And then it's all using the big muscle in a way to keep the boat tracking. So they need to practice to experience that.
I'm thinking pushing on that footrest and using the rotation and the arms to just flow in one motion. It's not pulled and then it's not clunky, it's just trying to be fluid.
The forward stroke is got three components. So there's the actual stroke itself. Yeah. There's the torso rotation, and there's the leg work. So basically it's got to be done at the same time, and that's what's hard.
Yeah.
The stroke that has to be clean, has to be vertical enough and forward. At the same time, you need that bit of torso rotation to reach forward and use those muscles in your back. And then when you start pulling, you also want to use the legs. So same leg, obviously, not the opposite one, like I've heard it, from a few people. So yeah, basically you got to do the three. You got to have those three components at the same time, and it does take quite a bit of practice. Leg work is important. It allows you to transfer all that power into your boat. If there's any disconnection, the boat is not going to go as fast, and then also you will lose a bit of balance, especially in wide water. My stroke is successful. I will feel a good speed out of it. I will keep the stroke effective around the knee area and around the feet. That's where the blade is vertical, so that's where it's most effective. Past that point, I try not to pull. It is a bit tempting sometimes, especially on wide water, but that's a different story. On flat water, even doing sprints, I'll really focus on having those blades around the knees and the feet. That's where it needs to be, and then yeah, that's where it's the most effective.
I try and keep my stroke predominantly at the front and not go past my hips, because once that happens, you're sort of leaning too far back. So once the stroke's in, it comes through and it comes out just sort of at hip level, and then rotate again for the next stroke.
So the blade will come out ideally around your hips. Most paddlers would tend to punch out a little bit with the top hand, and now allows you to lift the blade. It allows you to catch, to go for the next catch. Bear in mind when you do this that punching out can cause you to sink the boat, and also can sort of disturb the rhythm.
That's like swimming. I think it's the way that you could relax to go back into the front. And I would say, if you watch video of sprint people or good slalom paddlers, you will see that they go back into position and the body's tall, the paddle is kind of tall when it's going to hit the water. It's okay to use hit. I realize that sometimes hitting the water, people do a big splash. The reality is it's better it gets in nicely, smoothly, and then you rotate. It should be really elegant. They should think, oh, am I elegant or am I just crooked and like this? So they need to be kind of proud, elegant, and then efficient.
I notice that when I get tired, I tend to tap a lot more, so my strokes get shorter, they're not as efficient, the blade doesn't go fully in. So for me, I need to really just lengthen my stroke. It doesn't matter if my rating's not there, it's just about lengthening and making sure each stroke is powerful. I think keeping that top hand back is something my dad drilled into me a lot, and it's something also that came with sprint paddling and trying to get that catch and make it that efficient with the foot rest. But when I'm paddling on a full run or during a session, I'll think tall, power, long. So staying tall and forward, getting powerful catch, and then lengthening, the stroke.
So you want your top hand to stay around your eyes, and you do not want your hand to go too far this way or that way, because it means that your blade will go a little bit too far back, and that's not efficient at all.
I think it's really important to keep the boat flat, so having your core engaged, For me, I need to make sure my core's engaged, that I'm leaning forward a little bit, and that with each stroke I'm not sweeping and not getting too much side to side. I still get a little bit, but it's really about staying flat and minimizing that. I think what's really good to try and build on the flat water is good stroke rhythm, and then changing the timing. So sometimes feeling the glide with longer breaks between each stroke, because when you get on the water, sometimes you have to time it with the wave or with a stopper or certain currents. So if you're always at the same pace, you might miss a jump or you might get stuck. And I think that's important to learn to pace on the whitewater.
The strokes on whitewater will be a little bit different, especially in the middle of the gates. Sometimes the strokes will have to be just a lot more vertical, so we don't hit the gates. Sometimes, very often actually, they will be quite horizontal, so we can keep the paddle underneath the gates.
I think also, keeping the shoulders and the head relaxed. You don't want to be moving your head with your shoulders. You want to, make sure you're always looking forward and where you want to go.
It's important for you to paddle a different boat, sprint or DR. I don't think it matters that much, but it will allow you to work on your stroke technique a little bit more and at a higher pace, which is quite important for us. But every time you go on the water, especially flat water, that's pretty much all you need to think about. I'm 30 years old, and every time I go on the flat water, that's what I think about. I know I've got a good stroke technique, but I know I need to think about it, to keep it, and even to make it better.
Do you think you efficient in just one stroke? Do you feel that the boat goes somewhere in just one stroke? Because sometimes it's just tap tap tap, and the boat is running, so it's going. But is the boat going, has an action on just one stroke? And that's what they need to feel. Am I really connected when I put my paddle in? Do I use the footrest, the knee, and am I able to breathe and look where I'm going? Because when you're on the white water, it is also important to be as tall as they can, and then reach over the waves to be efficient. So they need to develop that feeling by themselves.